to GirlDad. I'm Abigail Frechette.
And I'm Peter Frechette.
And it's our final World Cup episode.
It is. I wore my jersey for one last time, although England did not quite get it done.
And you can, wear it still. It's not...
Oh, yeah, but I mean, for, as part of the World Cup.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
Now it's just a shirt.
I think we can kind of skip sports time and breaking news unless you have anything to share.
No, we're going to talk about sports today, so...
yeah.
And
I am
trying to keep
looking
my
at my
focus up.
phone just so people are not like, what's going on?
Because of your notes that you have on your phone, not that you're expecting a call.
No. No, I'm not expecting a call. Okay. So we're going to work our way forward. So the last full episode we did on the World Cup was after the group stages. So we're going to go back to July 4th, actually.
Okay, but before we do that, do you have any, or we can save it to the end, I guess.
That's what I was going to, save our general thoughts and feelings about everything, kind of build up to that.
Crank through these.
So the round of 16. Round of 6. So we're not doing the round of 32 because we kind of did.
All right.
That's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So the round of 16, France beats Paraguay.
Yep. They sure did.
Morocco, who were my dark horse, they beat out Canada, one of the hosts.
Yeah, not surprising.
No. Norway reached their first ever quarterfinal, taking out Brazil, who are not who people remember.
No, definitely not. They are the Pelé-less Brazil team.
Yeah, nice. Good one. And of course we have to mention Holland, just kind of the legendary Viking.
Took over.
I think he is the person that gained, excluding that one goalkeeper that was randomly picked by somebody.
Yeah.
He's the person that gained the most followers.
Well, he was the person who probably raised his
status,
his international status.
Because he's kind of he's a little bit like the Gronkowski or the Jason Kelsey of the soccer world, because he's still European, but he's kind of got that fun, crazy energy, and he's doing YouTube videos, he's doing vlogs of himself at the World Cup.
And going home with raccoons.
Yeah. And just, wearing big hats and boots, so...
he was classic.
Yeah, in my opinion, the best game of the World Cup, though, was England versus Mexico at the Azteca.
Oh.
I thought that was...
That was a round of 16 game?
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
That was, I think... It was just, because it was a crazy game in so many different ways, if that makes sense. Between the fouls, the goals, there was so much happening, and you could feel the energy through the TV in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure. And just,
so that was,
England playing a man down for the last 20 plus minutes, and in a stadium where 90% of the people were rooting for a goal to be scored, and them just sort of, I remember the announcer saying that, comparing it to a goal line stand in the Super Bowl, and that England played defense and just
absolutely
they weren't going to do anything at the other end of the field. They were just keeping the ball out of the goal.
And that strategy was exactly what they should have done in that game. Ronaldo retires from international football, losing 1-0 to Spain and the young Lamine Yamal.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all I really have to say about that.
That's fine.
I'm happy.
We'll talk about Spain more.
Yeah. USA lose to Belgium in a shock to US fans and nobody else.
No, and the more that I have read the postmortems of this tournament, the more I have come to agree with people who say that whether Trump made the phone call or not.
Yeah. Also, sorry, we are outside if you're not watching.
That was not a sound effect. That was not a sound effect.
That's nature is
when I say
agreeing.
Trump, the thunder doesn't automatically come up, although it appears to.
No.
But just they should not have played the guy who had gotten the red card. And if they had just said, you know what?
It feels like it gave them bad bad
juju,
vibes, bad energy.
Absolutely, and I think it put internal pressure on them.
Absolutely.
I think they put pressure on themselves because now we have to win
because if we don't win, what's gonna happen?
And the way they played in that game was, I mean, Belgium, solid team, no question, but they played tentative. They played. They made bad passes. Things they had not been doing up to that point.
Absolutely.
Were they going to win a game beyond that? No.
No, I do think, and I didn't really say that much about it because I feel like it was fun for the U.S. to be good.
Sure.
And it's especially with them being here, and it was like a good time, and it's also, I think, it was good that happened because I think there's a lot of new soccer fans. And there's a lot of new appreciation for this sport that is the most popular sport in the world outside of this country, like everywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's cool too because I think there's a lot of new comers to this. Hopefully that carries on to next year with the Women's World Cup too, where we're a better team. But yeah, I think this was kind of gonna happen. Like I think the fact that they got saying that they were going to get to like the semifinals, saying that they were going to win, that was crazy. Yeah. I'm so sorry, people. That was crazy. The quarterfinals, I could see in the game they played in the round of 32 that being a possibility if they kept that level of like kind of that intensity they had, but I just don't think they're that good.
No.
And as soon as they faced a team that was that good, it kind of and there was, like you said, there was all this other kind of stuff around.
The conditions had to be perfect, and the president made them not be perfect.
Absolutely. After that, we had the Argentina win over Egypt, which we're gonna get into Argentina a bit more at the end, but that was
insane.
There was some controversy with that too, so we'll talk about that.
But still, the fact that they were behind in the last 5 minutes and came on to win the game in regulation.
No, that was the England game. That was the Egypt game too. Yeah. So, but we're gonna Argentina. I have a lot we can talk about with that. Switzerland beat Colombia. That was the only penalty shootout of the round of 16. Interesting.
Thank goodness.
Quarterfinals, France beats Morocco. I think that was kind of expected.
Yeah.
Spain beat Belgium. Kind of expected. England take out Norway. I think that was probably of these like the most of a toss-up a little bit. I think with Holland there was like a...
Yeah.
But I think it was expected at the same time that England won. And then Argentina beats Switzerland. And that does leave the 4 favorites from the beginning of the tournament in the semifinals.
Okay.
So it was...
Yeah. I want to go back because I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But again, in reviewing the tournament, and maybe you were thinking about talking about this. I guess we'll talk about it after, like the best goals and things like that.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that
All right,
stuff.
so now we're into the semifinals.
So in the semifinals, so I want to say one thing about this first because I think that this is something, I don't know how many people were aware of this going in, but Spain and France were the 2 favorites. England and Argentina were the next 2 favorites. So, like, they were all the 4 favorites, but it really was Spain and France were the 2.
Right.
Does that make sense?
But for some reason, Argentina was the number 1 seed.
Yes.
Which is what put Spain and France in the semifinals.
Exactly. So that was, because there was a lot of, like, this should not be the way the semifinals are because you're putting the, like, people were hoping to see a Spain-France final, and that didn't happen because of the way the seeds were not the way the favorites were.
Right.
Which is fine. That happens.
You got to beat everybody.
Yeah. But to many people's surprise, Spain easily dealt with France, which I think was quite shocking seeing the way that France had played the rest of the tournament. It kind of felt like, to me at least, like France was going on like easy mode and just like cruising through, defeating all these teams, and you thought like once they play Spain, England, or like one of these teams, it'll be like they're on it, they're just so much better, and they just weren't. It was really strange.
Well, I think with the little that I know of the game, I do think that Spain's ability to possess the ball was the thing that destroyed France.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Argentina would not have been able to do that to them, and I'm not sure that England would have been able to do that to
if
them
the
either.
final was France versus either of the other two teams, I do think France would have beaten both England or Argentina at this point. But even though we'll get into that game, but like if that was the final, but yeah, I think Spain has this like dominating ability. They're really good at dealing with pressure. They did just win the Euros also, so like they are the best team in Europe currently, which is, you know, some people say Europe is the capital of football, so they're the best team, but
other people would say it's the Big 12, but
it's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, and I do think it's interesting because obviously Spain has Lamine Yamal, and he is a star, but he's also young.
Yeah.
He's not. This is his first World Cup. Like this is.
Well, he's 19.
Yeah.
He didn't make it when he was 15. I don't know why.
Yeah. But like, I think compared to the way other teams were talking about their star players and the way Spain was being spoken about, it was much more of the Spanish team being spoken about, where France, you were mainly talking about Mbappe. Even England mainly talking about Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Like or Harry Kane. But it was like, we're talking about an individual, not a team. And I think that was something that, like, Spain plays really well together. They're really just, like, in my opinion, they play together. They have the chemistry of, like, a club team who, you know, has a lot more time to practice together, is consistently playing together regularly over years and years. Like, you have that kind of, you know, a little bit more your teammates, the way they are going to respond to a ball, so you know where to be, all that kind of stuff. And they are just, because of that, I think they were the most dominated team in a World Cup that seemed to be about stars.
Yeah. The
team that was the best one.
The one thing that, for those people who watched in English as opposed to Spanish, may have picked up on, that I picked up on a lot from the announcers. There was a word that I only heard in relation to Spain, and that was triangles. And that ability, and that's a word that you hear quite often in the NHL with teams, you know, turning it into a three-man game, and you're playing with that, you set up your triangles to move the ball around, and then you got another triangle over here, and you spin and you go the other way, and that it's, I guess what I'm saying is that it makes a lot of sense, and it sounds easy, and it's not easy, and not everybody does it. And I think one of the reasons that Spain is able to do it is their youth program. They're doing it all the way up. So you talk about it being a club atmosphere.
Yeah.
It may be that these guys don't play together, but they play the same way.
Yeah.
And all the way
They're
through. And then the head coach
certain,
came from the junior program. They've been building it up.
It's much more of a like consistent system, the way a lot of clubs operate, where it's like, but they have this consistent system that doesn't, it's not a manager system, which is like how clubs usually are. It's organizational system. It's a countrywide system.
And that's what the U.S. needs.
Yeah.
To get to the next level.
Yeah.
Is that youth development program that has a consistent. This is how we're going to play. Yeah. And we're going to play this way for the next 15 years. Yeah. And we're going to commit to it, and we're going to do it, and we're not going to change every time we get a new coach. Well, and that's a hard thing to commit to.
Absolutely, and I think that is why you get, because you'll still get stars.
Right, absolutely.
You'll still get a Lamine Yamal. But you won't be Brazil relying on Pele, and then what happened to Brazil?
Right.
Like, we expect Brazil to be really good, and wait, they're not anymore.
Right.
Why? They've always been so good. And it's like, well, because of X, Y, and Z. And it is kind of interesting. Who knows if Messi will retire or not? I feel like he should, but I don't know. But, will Argentina have kind of a drop off after Messi? And again, we're going to talk. I have a lot of things to talk about with Argentina, but I think it does feel like it was much more of a team effort in a lot of ways than some of the other ways the other teams were playing. Then we had Argentina beating England. I do want to give a shout out to Anthony Gordon, who did score in that game. It was a great goal, and I started out, I think in our first episode or our second episode, saying, what the hell, why did Barcelona pay so much money for Anthony Gordon? Like, he's so bad. And I was so wrong. I think he was under a lot of pressure when we saw him play in the first couple games, and I think once he got over that, he really was, I mean, he was like the most improved, I'd say, but I think he was kind of the I don't know if you can say breakout star, but in a lot of ways I think he was kind of the surprise star for England, because you knew Jude Bellingham, you knew Harry Kane were gonna score goals, right? But I think he was kind of, you were like, oh, you're quite good at this, that's nice to have you here, hello. Where I think Anderson would arguably be the other one, but I think again there was a little more expectancy of that, if that makes sense.
But after they got that goal, they started playing the same way they did against Ghana.
And it's you gotta be a couple
win.
up before you're doing that.
You can't. You can't play not to lose, which is what they did. And they lost.
Yeah.
And they did it to a team. They did it to a team that throughout the tournament was scoring in the last 10 minutes.
Yes.
So you got to be ready for them.
If you want to play where you're sitting back,
you got to be 2 goals.
You have to be, you have to be above that. I do think that was a bad game to watch. I think both teams played really poorly. The goals were the exception. I guess the last 10 minutes kind of from Argentina, an exception, and then a couple chances. But overall, it was not very enjoyable to watch.
What about the final?
So, well, before I say this, I do want to say, I think if you go into the semifinal and lose the semifinal, that's the worst game to lose, because you still have to play another game.
Right.
You don't get to just go home.
Which they pretend means something.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the semifinal. Do you want to talk about the semifinal? I mean,
let's talk about the semifinal. Let's talk about the bronze medal.
Okay. So, England versus France, which I thought was going to be the final. I believe I texted my friend Hannah after that game and said, I have not seen either of those teams play a World Cup game. I don't know who that was. It was fun to watch, but don't know either of those. Who are they? I think France kind of didn't care.
At least, especially not in the first half.
Yeah, I think they were kind of, like I said, I think they would have beat England. They would have beat Argentina. They would have beat England if it was the final, because I think they would have cared a lot more. Yeah. But it just kind of seemed and then they scored their 3 goals, and then it was okay, So we've done something now. Like, they can't say we didn't try.
They did it again. They went to 5-3 and they made it 5-4.
Yeah.
Because this is the only thing that I saw of that game was the last
which was
3
crazy.
minutes, which was I started watching when it was 5-4, and France had the ball.
Yeah.
And Jude Bellingham went the length of the field and just destroyed people.
Yeah. To
make it 6-4, and that was very exciting. That was fun.
Absolutely, but it was interesting because you watched, and I think you can. I'm not saying that England should have been scoring 6 goals against everybody, and I don't think that's realistic, but it really felt like England was playing for everything they had a little bit in that game, and it was like, why didn't you do that when you were, like, in the tournament? Like, why didn't you play that way against... Why were you so afraid of every other team?
Right.
Like, and I think they were just afraid, and it's like, that's not how you win.
No, absolutely not.
You can play that way like you played against Mexico, where you give it everything you got for the first 75 minutes. You get up and then you park the bus, and that's fine. You can do that. You bring on what's his name? Who's the really tall Newcastle defender?
Oh, the guy who's 6'8".
Yeah.
And just heads everything.
Oh, his name is like so British too. Anyways, it'll come to me like randomly at some time. But moving on to Spain, Argentina.
Yes. I will say
this was the worst World Cup final of all time.
I was going to say, I looked, somebody did an article on the ranking the 104 games of the tournament.
Yeah.
And I immediately went to see where the England-Ghana game fell into that.
That's the bottom.
And it was not the bottom.
Oh.
But I will say...
Also, sorry it just started pouring.
I will say that the final was like the 102nd worst game of the tournament.
So I'm going to go off on Argentina here a little bit. And I want to acknowledge that most of the media I consume surrounding soccer or football is English-based. But I don't think that all of it was biased. But if you feel that I'm being biased, just take it with a grain of salt then. But I really feel like the way to compare the Argentina winning the last World Cup. Like, watching that final versus watching this final, you're watching the best game of soccer. Like, there were all these tweets, and it was this discussion of, like, football won. Like, we won just getting to witness that game. It didn't matter who won that game. It was such an incredible, like, thing to watch. And then to watch them play the way they played against Spain, when it was basically the same lineup. I think there were 2 changes maybe to the lineup, but you're watching the same teams for the most part. And you are watching one team try to play beautiful football. Like, gorgeous, just like really in sync, all the things we were talking about how Spain does before with these systems and these like just like really nice to watch football. And then you're watching Argentina just bully them.
Just muck it up
just
all over.
Like, and I will say the one thing that really bothered me, so this is a stereotype about Argentinian football players, is that they are bullies, they're really aggressive. I hate what's his name? Is it Fernandez? He's on Enzo Fernandez. I hate that man. Oh, sorry. See, again, the universe is on my side. But I've hated watching him in the Premier League. He plays for Chelsea. I listened to a guy who's a Chelsea supporter. He hates him because he's just like any foul he can try to get away with. It's the worst kind of sportsmanship. It's bad to watch. It's not enjoyable. there's a lot of history with, like, racism within the Argentinian footballers. And one moment I do want to call out is, so Mark Cucurella, who was also a Chelsea player, and I think is just a
He's
doll.
the guy with the hair.
He's the defensive man with the long curly hair. I watched a documentary about him. He seems like just the nicest person, and I know these things can be fake, but I really do think that this is a good guy. And like on and off the field, he plays that way. It just seems real to me. And he said something, not in a heated moment, but he like did a motion that covered his mouth. And if you'll remember, we talked about the incident between Vinicius Jr. and Prestiani. Prestiani is an Argentinian player. He was banned from playing in this World Cup because he, quote unquote, supposedly called Vinicius Jr. a monkey. To be clear, Vinicius Jr. is a black man, so obviously that's racial tension. And he did so by covering his shirt and saying it to him kind of repeatedly. Vinicius called the ref, told him what happened, and he was sent off, and there was like this whole thing. We talked about that on the podcast. So there is a rule that was instated which is popularly known as the Prestiani rule, where in a moment of heated tension, players cannot cover their mouths to say things to each other. But it's only in moments of heated tension. So, like, if we're on the same team and I'm talking to you, I want to tell you a play. Or if, we're just talking, but we're not, like, arguing with each other and, like, my mouth isn't visible to you for some reason, like, that doesn't count. It is obviously a very subjective rule, but I think it's a good rule to have. Anyways. The thing that disappointed me the most in this game was that Messi claimed Cucurella said something to him with his hand in front of his mouth. If you watch the video, it's clear they're not in a heated conversation. It's also clear that, like, he wasn't, like, purposefully covering his mouth the way they do with their shirts or the way they actually, like, visibly do. He was, like, I think he was rubbing sweat off his upper lip or something. I don't really know. Immediately, Messi goes to the ref because they're a man down, and that would make Spain a man down. And I had more respect for Messi than to do that, because I do think Messi, for the most part, is above all this. If you watch the fight that broke out afterwards, he was over the side just watching with his hands on his hips like a disappointed father kind of thing. Like, but that's a perfect example kind of how the Argentinian system is, in opposition to what we talked about the Spanish system, where the Spanish system seems to be focused on the style of play. The Argentinian system seems to be focused on, like, deceptively, how can you beat the other team? How can you get the ref on your side? You'll notice that, like, if you watch the Argentinians play, anytime there's a decision made, they all crowd the ref. And that's a thing teams do occasionally, but not every time, and not all the players. And every time you see the ref make a decision, all of the blue and white striped shirts go towards him. And it's frustrating. It's hard to watch have that be the final.
Well, I will say that thank goodness that Spain scored.
Oh, yeah.
Because if that game had gone to penalties,
oh my God,
I would have been
so that would have been really devastating.
So they scored.
Yeah.
They won.
Yeah.
And all was right.
Yeah.
In the world.
But I do just want to say, I think that in certain ways, the final was a little bit representative of what this year's World Cup has been, where I think there's been this one side of it that's really kind of beautiful and magical about having these 3 countries hosting it, having all of these cultures come together, and like seeing how excited not only like international fans are, but the host cities are to have these people there, and how wonderful that has been. And then to have this kind of corrupt other side to it, where you have Donald Trump making phone calls to get decisions overturned. You
going
have
all the way back to the Peace Prize.
Back to the Peace Prize, and then you have Infantino,
having to be on the screen in every game.
Him, and I will say, I do want to shout out whoever runs Spain's social media. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the video of Donald Trump?
Oh, yes.
Did you see the photo that Spain posted?
He wasn't in it.
They photoshopped him out of it.
Or they cropped him out of it.
No. Because it's a screenshot of a moment where you can see that he's in the photo. And you couldn't have cropped him out, because that would have cropped out some of the Spanish players. That's how close he was.
Excellent.
And I just think, like, I'm happy that the good side won, and I think that's what we should take from this World Cup. I think we should remember the bad things, so that when we go into next year, not next year, but the next one, we're, like, prepared for that. Hydration breaks, for example. We don't need that. That's ad breaks. Or if you're going to do that, call it what it is. Please
Right.
Don't lie to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, the 64 teams is going to be crazy.
Well, you got 4 years to think about that.
It's going to be crazy. But yeah, I think it was fun.
It was very fun. I just wanted to shout out one goal.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. I think the guy's name was Cabral.
Okay.
It was against, I think it was in the round of 32. I think he's an African player.
Okay, let's see.
And he scored it was in I think they were behind 3-1, or they might even be behind 2-1, and
versus Argentina.
Was it versus Argentina? Is that his name? Like, it was for
Sidney Lopez Cabral for Cape Verde.
Yes, for Cape Verde. Yes, and he had the shot from the left side that went in the far corner of the upper corner of the goal. Because I was looking at this thing, and they asked a bunch of guys what their best goal was, and somebody was talking about Mbappe's first or second goal in the first game, which was just 20 yards outside the box, which was just a bullet. Yeah. And then they mentioned this Cabral guy, and I'm like, who was that? What was that goal? And I watched that game. Yeah. And that was such a great game, and that goal. And then he went and hugged his girlfriend in the crowd.
Oh, yes!
Yeah, he went up in the crowd and hugged his girlfriend. That was, to me, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So, yes, I came into this, clearly you have had an influence on me as far as getting into this. And we watched it when it's been here before.
Yeah.
But I got way more into it this year. And
well, you also know more about all the, you know more about what VAR is now. I feel
but it
like
was
you're
just,
more aware of everything.
but I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
I think I will probably watch the Euros in 2 years.
Oh yeah, love the Euros.
And get into that a little bit, because it really is.
For Americans, I will say, Euros is really fun, because that's, at least on the East Coast, that's like day drinking. You go to a pub, watch the Euros. You're home. You can go to bed at 8 p.m. if you want. Sure. It's great. It's great vibes.
It's like that 8 o'clock NFL game on the West Coast.
Yeah. Love that. Love it. No, it's so fun.
But thank you very much.
Yeah, the next Euros is in England, too.
Oh. Maybe we should go. We'll see. Well, thank you for pushing this on us, and
of course,
it's been a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for listening to me. I know I have a lot of thoughts and feelings and opinions, but the World Cup is a really cool thing.
It's special.
It's special. And maybe, next year, Women's World Cup.
Absolutely. We'll do it again.
Very exciting. Very exciting. All right. Well, we will talk to you guys later. If you want to contact us about any of your thoughts and feelings on the World Cup, you can email us at
GirlDadPcast@gmail.com. And I want to give a special shout out to William, who won the pool. I think it's Will Clark,
okay.
but if it's not, and your name is William and you entered the pool, congratulations, you won, and you got a pair of tickets to the Red Sox game.
But you need to email us because we don't know
That's
who
right.
you are.
You got to email us at girldadpcast@gmail.com. So, but congratulations to William.
Only person who had Spain in our bracket.
That's right, and it came down to if Argentina had won, your Aunt Jenny would have come all the way up and won it.
Because she was fairly
She was the only one who had Argentina. So shout outs to them. And very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will talk to you guys next week. We possibly have, we have something related to the family coming either way. One of two things.
Yep, we'll see how it goes.
And we will see you then. Bye, Dad.
Bye, girl. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the episode, follow us on your favorite podcast platforms, rate us, and leave a review.